Chapter 48. Tremor rolled and bounced across the ground. The blow from the attacking wolf had surprised him, but it wasn't as strong as he expected. The other dragon heard an angry snarl behind him. The wolf pounced on him and slammed the fist into his gut. Tremor immediately felt the blood rush up through his throat and out his mouth. The wolf drew its blade and raised it high to quickly finish him off. Just as he was about to bring the earth guardian's life to an end, a shadow blocked out the sun. A split second later, his hands came crashing down on top of the wolf. The weapon struck the ground next to Tremor's head, and the wolf howled in pain as the dragon sank her long teeth into the back of his skull. The force from the hit knocked the wolf off balance, and Tremor took the chance to wrap his clubbed tail around the wolf's leg. The canine yelped in surprise and staggered forward. Candace sprang out the wolf's back, kicking him down in the process. The wolf hit the dirt and whirled in the ice dragoness. He launched at her, and Candace somersaulted into the air. The wolf hit the ground with the ice dragoness lashed onto his back again. He shook himself, but only succeeded in helping Candace tear off a massive chunk of his flesh. Tremor didn't waste any more time. He was on his feet in a flash and chasing off after the wolf and his dragoness. At last, the wolf managed to get a hold of Candace's tail. This proved to be a mistake. The dragon pulled hard against his grip, pulling her tail free and severing the wolf's fingers. The canine howled in pain and clutched at the bleeding stubs. Candace shifted her foot in the wolf's back and raised a paw before sinking her talons deep in the wolf's clavicle. The wolf bucked, trying to get her off, only to have his collarbone snap as she put her talons back. "Candace!" Tremor shouted as he lowered his head to the ground and charged forward. The dragon sprang off of the moon's back and into the air as Tremor slammed full force to the wolf's stomach, sending him into the air. Tremor stamped the paw down and a pillar of stone burst off on the ground, knocking the canine higher. The other dragon watched as Candace shot straight up and then jumped down the wolf's head, propelling him into the ground. Tremor jumped out of the way as a sharp icebox pummeled the ground. He stared hard as the cloud of dust began to settle. His eyes narrowed as he saw a figure rise up in front of him. The wolf looked up at the ice dragoness, then back to Tremor, debating which it wanted to attack first. The two guardians' muscles tensed as the wolf slowly reached behind his back. It took hold of several of Candace's ice sparks and yanked them out. The ice dragoness cringed in disgust at the sight before her. These wolves weren't mutants. Not even monsters. They were abominations. She glanced at Tremor, whose focus was locked on the wolf. She couldn't begin to fathom how he had even survived a brawl with one of these creatures. Without warning, the wolf flung the spikes up at Candace. The dragon shrieked in surprise and twisted herself sideways, letting the spikes miss her by the merest of inches. The wolf yanked another spike from its arm and lunged for Tremor. The Earth Guardian jumped back at us as the wolf swung wildly at him, panting like a rabid animal. The wolf swung again, slashing Tremor across his chest, reopening the puncture wound he had received from his last battle. Tremor staggered back and ducked as the spike sailed over his head and impaled a tree trunk at the edge of the forest. Suddenly there was a loud crash. Tremor looked to his left to see a shower of ice shards coming right at them from flaming Emma's direction. Tremor jumped high as did his opponent. The wolf yanked the last of the spikes free and hurled them at the Earth Guardian. Tremor back winged to duck out of them, but one struck him across his brow. The blow stunned him and he hit the ground hard. The wolf landed and towered over the Earth Guardian. Tremor shook his head and stared up at the wolf, frozen in fear. The wolf drew his weapon again and brought it up to his shoulder. Once again, Candace came in from above, but this time the wolf was waiting for her. In swift, rapid motion, the wolf swirled around, catching the dragoness inside the head with the flat of his blade. "Candace!" Tremor shouted as he watched her body roll across the ground. The wolf ignored him and sprang into the air, blade raised high, intended to deliver the finishing blow. The bright green energy burst from Tremor's body again. He shot like a rocket across the ground and jumped between Candace and the wolf. The wolf bellowed with glee, hoping to finish them both with one strike. Tremor fired an earth missile as the wolf thrust his blade out. The weapon shattered as well as the bones on the wolf's hand. The canine staggered back, giving the dragons the moment they needed. Candace was on her feet in the blink of an eye and sprang into the air. Tremor shot himself in the stone and barreled towards the bewildered wolf. The mutant jumped over him and spat a burst of ice at him as he rushed past. Tremor banked hard to avoid being frozen in place and burst free from his protective shield. Just before the wolf hit the ground, Tremor sent a pillar of earth shooting up and into the wolf's gut. The canine howled in pain and was sent high in the air. Candace grabbed him in midair and bit down his ear. She spun him around and flung him even higher before spinning another barrage of icicles. The ice guardian looked back down as Tremor flew up to meet her. He reached a paw and she rubbed her tail around it. With a tremendous heave, she swung the Earth Dragon up after the impaled wolf. Tremor beat his wings hard and whizzed past the bloody body above him. He watched as the wolf slowed its ascent and began to fall back to the ground. A second later, Kenneth flew up and the two took hold of each other's paws. With a loud flap of the wings, the two guardians shot towards the ground. The wolf had a good amount of distance ahead of them, watching helplessly as they prepared the final strike. The air around the guardians began to swirl with each earth and ice energy as they spiraled downwards at an alarming speed. The two of them nodded to one another and let out a thunderous roar. They became a glowing mass of energy as they neared their targets. The wolf hit the ground hard, leaving a deep impact in the ground. A split second later, the two dragons cannoned into the wolf. The ground beneath the Bermuda's body rippled, then exploded in a burst of ice. Inside the ice, Candace held Tremor close to her, his head resting on her chest. She had never used this move before, or even dreamed of combining her fury attack with Tremor's meteor strike he had come up with during their early training days. She exhaled and Tremor's body began to shake. The solidified ice cracked, then shattered. The two dragons cut themselves and hovered just over the wolf's carcass. When the beast did move, they both looked at one another, exchanging loving gazes. Just then the wolf's leg twitched. The guardians jumped in surprise and hovered back a couple of feet. "No way!" Candace gasped as she watched the monster shock with her eyes. Tremor's eyes narrowed at the wolf for a brief moment before something else caught his attention. "Move!" he shouted. The infernal flame Ember had created washed over the ground beneath their feet. The wolf's agonized cries were drowned out by the roar of flames that scorched his body. When the blaze subsided, Tremor and Candace both breathed a sigh of relief. As they sat down to the ground, Candace cooled the earth beneath their paws. "I think you're crazy to take one of these things on by yourself," Candace said as she caught her breath. "I had no idea they were this tough until after it was too late," Tremor protested. But then his cocky grin returned. "But would you love me any less if I wasn't crazy?" Candace just shook her head with a smile. "You doofus." She leaned in towards him. Tremor moved his lips closer to hers. Suddenly, the wolf sprang with an eerie howl. Candace screamed and Tremor jumped in front of her. He spun around, smashed his clubbed tail on the wolf's head. The canine fell backwards, blood seeping from the holes in his face. Tremor slammed his paw down to the ground. A fissure was torn open and swallowed the wolf up. With the sweep of his tail, Tremor closed the cavern up but spat on sight. "That will be the end of that," he growled. Candace was still trembling behind him, her eyes still locked in the ground where the wolf had fallen through. Tremor's hand nuzzled her cheek, bringing her from her trance. "It's okay," he whispered. "He's not going to hurt you anymore." Candace put her face to his neck. She wanted to cry but couldn't find a reason to. "Tremor, don't ever leave me." The other guardians nodded and draped his wing around her to help console her. He closed his eyes and breathed softly in her neck. It was something he and his sister used to do when the other one was scared and seemed to become the ice dragoness just as well. If there weren't two battles going on around them and one over their heads, this would have been a perfect moment for them to share. Suddenly, something snapped inside Tremor's mind. He jerked away from Candace's eyes began to scan the area. "Tremor?" The ice dragon looked at him worriedly. There was something strange about the look in his eyes. They looked almost furrowed. "Tremor, what's wrong?" She moved closer and tried to follow his eyes. I don't know," Tremor replied. "He couldn't really control his body for some reason. My body, it's just moving on its own." "What? But how can—" "Tremor!" The other dragon started and his eyes began to shine bright and yellow-green. His arm burst from his body and Candace stepped back as Sky stood before them. "Sis?" Tremor groaned. He was beginning to feel slightly nauseous. "It's him! He's here!" "What?" Tremor groaned as he started to straighten up. Who's here?" "There!" Guy turned and pointed across the battlefield. Tremor and Candace squinted at the tree she was pointing to. They didn't see anything at first, but then some movement in the shadows caught their attention. "There! Did you see?" "Yeah," Tremor nodded. "Another wolf. Not just another wolf." Guy shook her head. Tremor's eye began to fade away. "He's the one." "The one?" Candace looked at Tremor. His twin's voice came from the fading aura. She was a bit confused by what Guy was saying. "What does that mean?" "He's the one," Tremor repeated. He tucked his chin down and puffed his chest out. His thighs narrowed as he watched Nora darting in between the shadows of the trees. Tremor's teeth growled angrily, and Candace saw how his brilliant growing scales darkened. "He's the one who killed Gaia."